I guess we're doing this.
Looks like it.
Hey y'all. This is Ryan.
And I'm Robyn.
And it's, as we record this, Sunday evening, and Robyn and I went to the gun range again, and it was Robyn's first time back at the gun range since her 2-day intensive training.
And we rented some guns for me to try out to see if I liked different guns that people had recommended. Long story short, I don't.
Still going with the Glock 19, huh?
I like the Glock 19.
Hey, if you step to the plate and the bat that you're swinging works, you keep swinging that bat. But you also did something that I haven't even mentioned all evening, and this is the first time you'll hear it from me. First time. No.
My mom's listening to this.
It was awesome. We went to a gun range that you can rent guns. They have a wide variety of guns behind the counter that you can rent for the time you're there, and you're supposed to use their ammo, but I have more ammo than they do. And
they're literally
out of ammo for 9mm. So I was like, no, we got this. So Robyn tried the Smith & Wesson Shield and the Shield 2.0, a weapon system she had never held before in her life, ever. And she went in there and she loaded and ran both of them completely unassisted. I didn't even help you load mags.
And Tim and Thad, I know Tim's not ever going to listen to this, I had the correct grip.
She did.
Would have been so proud.
If that would have been some stranger's gun, and you know what I'm alluding to there, if that had been a situation where you had to take care of business with a weapon that you're not familiar with, you completely picked up that weapon and ran with it.
And probably shot the neighbor.
I didn't have to come in. I purposefully, they shouldn't have been in the way.
No, I think I hit where I was supposed to most of the time.
Yeah, you 100% did.
That target
you
was
completely,
shredded.
zipped that target up so it wasn't a full-size, man-sized target, right?
No, but it was shredded by the end.
Proportionally speaking, it would be, I don't know if you set that thing at 5 yards because it's smaller, if that's supposed to mean it would be at 15 yards or whatever the math is. But it's a smaller man-sized silhouette than the one you trained with, and you still would have been completely unzipped, zipped up, whatever the term is. He'd have been done in.
The first time I had the shield in my hand, though, I have to say, I barely got his neck, and I literally thought, oh, that would have been a carotid.
But no, you did great, and also you stepped up to that line like a boss. Before this training, you were not
waiting for your directions.
You were not sure what the next thing was. You didn't know what am I supposed to do, and what does this thing do, and how to grip and how to do. I didn't do anything. I did not do anything.
No, it was fun. It was actually a lot of fun, but I way prefer the Glock 19. And I don't know if that's because I shot a million jillion rounds from it. But
you've got, I don't know, you're over 1,000 rounds with a Glock 19 by now. Because, fighting pistol plus everything you did before that, plus you shot some today. So, yeah,
and the funny thing was when we were driving, you gave me a magazine, and it had bullets in it, and you emptied them out and said, do this, and I thought it was like a Karate Kid moment, like wax on, wax off, and so I started putting the same ammunition in the magazine.
We've been watching some Cobra Kai. We're in the second season now, so she thought this was like a Cobra Kai. I was making her,
wax on,
wax off, or paint the fence or whatever. Load and unload your magazine now.
I seriously thought we were going to do that the whole way, and I was like, I guess I'm doing this over
I really
and over.
meant I needed you to load that magazine with training rounds.
With training ammo,
right, as opposed to the ninja bullets that were in it.
I've been watching a little too much Cobra Kai.
I saw where you were coming from with that, though. It was a Cobra Kai moment.
And we're going to circle back to Cobra Kai because I have thoughts on that. But we are doing this tonight, and we have quite a few things to talk about.
We do.
First of all, we just celebrated our anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, so apparently I'm getting a gun and he got dinner. And it's been such a long relationship.
The problem is with getting the gun, it may be a while before it gets here. You know what I'm saying? Guns are not the easiest thing in the world to get a hold of right now. So,
but I bought you dinner.
Oh, yeah. So go down to your local gun mart and try to buy a Glock 19 right now. See how that works for you.
I kid.
I'm on a waiting list in a gun store somewhere else, and it's going to be a while.
Yeah, and the two that you really liked that you wanted for your birthday are gone.
The 2 shotguns? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super nice, but no.
I know. Sorry about that.
No, it'll be all right. After the election, I'll get one.
Oh, yeah. They'll be giving them away,
I'd totally giving them away. When this particular craze dies down, yeah. So
a lot going on. Wildfires.
Yeah.
Good grief.
In
I am so...
Oregon.
And California.
Yeah, that's
and
where
Washington.
Thad and Yeager and all of them are now training. Yeah. All that
and
business.
from what I've heard, I'm sure that there are some fires that are natural causes, but there are a lot that are being lit and they're arresting people.
Yes, they are.
I hesitate to call them Antifa. I think they look more like meth heads, but that's just me. But yeah, there's a lot of wildfires. I wouldn't call them
wild. I would call them pre-planned.
Fires, yeah.
Yes, outcome predetermined fires.
Do you think they're planned? I think they're just a bunch of assholes with anarchy on their
Starting
mind.
fires is the MO of several different groups, and it's been, I don't want to cast aspersions and name names inappropriately if it's not the right people, because honestly the people they have arrested, you're right, they do just look like meth heads. But
I know they did say one had been at rallies.
It's super easy to put a meth head up to something.
Yeah.
So if you were a smarter person who had previously been at rallies and you wanted to get something done, you get a meth head to do it. I mean, that's...
Yeah. I know one person, and I did read that from a semi-reputable source. One person had been at some protest earlier in the year. Yeah. So there is that. Those fires are devastating. I can't even imagine what it must be like to live in that. I see the pictures, and they don't even look real. Luckily, we had the snow here, and I think our fires were all... actually, no. I think there was one that was probably started by a cigarette, but I don't think there were any nefarious.
Well, we're not immune from it, just given our geographic location. I mean, and I think rightfully so. You came home the other day and said you'd seen somebody that raised an eyebrow standing. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like
you don't see a lot of cigarette smokers at Spruce Mountain.
No, you don't. I mean, that's some of the healthiest people anywhere hiking up and down that mountain, and there's a dude standing there smoking a cigarette.
Several.
Yeah. Several guys standing around smoking. It's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, that was weird.
Out of place looking.
It did not look like the regular Boy Scouts there.
No. Your smokers don't go up and down that mountain.
God bless them if they do. Because that's hard enough with
full body armor
lungs.
It's hard enough in body armor to go up that mountain, let alone with your smoking.
It's just hard enough to go, period, much less with body armor.
Yeah.
So, I hope the fires slow down on the West Coast. I hope they get some relief. I know it's dangerous. It's actually dangerous. The air quality, I know a lot of people are trying to leave just because of health reasons.
So I got to be careful how I say this, but I'm of the opinion that if you see somebody starting a fire, they are using deadly force. The appropriate answer to that is also deadly force. I know that's a fine line, but I don't.
I think that inside. I think that could be irresponsible.
If they're 300 yards away from a housing development and the wind is blowing towards the housing development and they're trying to start a fire,
I think instead of taking pictures that you want to go viral, you could always use your phone as a phone is meant to be used. 911 is an excellent start. And I hope people are responsible.
I've been on a board interview where the correct answer was shoot them to a Molotov cocktail question. So I'm just saying, I'm having a harder and harder time having sympathy for some folks.
It's not about sympathy. It's just, I think you could probably try to use 911 first.
Maybe.
But I've not been in that situation, so I don't know. I think that's a good
start. Depends on if you got there and obviously the dude had the gas and he's about to crack, whatever.
Right.
Maybe if you let one go on the ground right in front of him and said, hey, now's not a good time to be doing that,
Right.
Held him till the cops got there or something. I don't know. It's just, I don't
and
suggest.
People be smart. Like, not just all, there are bad people doing bad things. There are also stupid people. Don't throw your cigarettes out your window.
Oh my God, that is one of my biggest pet peeves.
I know. I always want to throw them back.
If you throw cigarette butts out of a window, you're trash. Period.
Yes, I agree.
Period. 100%. I don't care. There's no excuse for it. I don't care.
And if you did it 30 years ago, fine.
Right.
Now
if you did it in the 70s, I get it. I understand.
You didn't know.
Right.
Now you know.
Everybody smoked in the 70s and with the kids in the car with the windows rolled up. I get it.
Without seatbelts.
I understand. No seatbelts. I get it. You do that stuff in 2020, I'm sorry. I got nothing for you.
Yeah. No, I agree. So don't throw your cigarettes out. Remember, gender reveals are cupcake parties.
Gender reveals are cupcake parties. Oh, yeah. And my brother actually made a good point. He messaged me because we talked about the gender reveal using balloons. Yeah. You tape the balloons to the box they come in because he's out in the woods a lot. He hunts, he guides, he does whatever. He finds balloons all the time.
You know what's funny is I have always hated, like, if people were doing a memorial and they would let hundreds of balloons go.
Right.
Even as a kid, I didn't like that. I didn't know the environmental impact. I just didn't like it.
Right.
And now I know.
I let a balloon go in Maryland once and wrote my name and phone number on it. I got a phone call about 3 days later from down in Virginia.
Girl.
Who?
Hot girl.
Oh, no. That would have been an awesome...
was it someone going, you dummy? Don't.
No, it was some dude called me.
Oh, that's cool.
I was still living with my parents. I was like junior year of high school or something.
Oh, so you were a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I forgot where he said he was. It was down in Virginia. So it went up and it crossed the Potomac River that was Howard County, Maryland. If you know geography of that area.
Totes.
I was standing in Columbia, Howard County, Maryland, turned it loose, and it would have had to have drifted south for a good bit. And I don't remember how far down into Virginia it was. I don't know if it went up and over the Potomac and then came back down. Whatever happened.
So you were in high school, so that was like a millennia ago.
That was so long ago that
we didn't know.
Helium had barely been discovered as an element.
We didn't know.
Right.
So now we know. Don't do balloons, or like your brother said, tape them to the box.
Yeah.
Or just do what we did back in the Stone Age. Just tell people we're
having
a girl.
Or get a sonogram and say we're having a girl. Jesus, yeah. Do you have to go blow up stuff because you're having something? So...
I agree. So, yeah, thoughts going out to everybody on the West Coast. I hope they get some relief.
And don't be setting fires as a means of making a statement because it's just punk ass.
Well, and it's not making a statement. And the people, when they get caught, there are people dying. There are millions.
Oh, yeah, you'll get charged if they catch you for that. This is what people don't understand. The long term, I set this fire, I'm protesting something, I'm going to burn down some trees. If somebody dies in that, guess what? That's murder.
Well, there's the
if
one guy...
If multiple people die, that gets multiple murder.
There's the one guy that they arrested, Michael Jared Baraka or something.
White guy.
Yeah, he's the one he looked like a meth head. But that fire, I think, has destroyed several hundred homes, several thousand acres, and they have at least 2 deaths.
Yeah.
So that guy, that's murder.
That's murder plus all the rest of it. So in my book, that's at least life in prison, and that's entry level life at prison. I mean, I can go up from there. So in Texas, we have an answer for that. I'm just saying.
Well, hopefully they get some rain and
snow or something.
Yeah.
So.
And then we had proof that you can find a study for anything. And while I am a facts person, and I like facts, I like research.
Yes.
There was a study that came out that the Sturgis biker rally caused over 250,000 cases of COVID and $14 billion in financial destruction.
Right.
False.
So what I read when it first came out, and I have to tap dance delicately around a landmine here because
you are tap dancing delicately around a lot.
I kind of
want to see you tap
dance. I'm not into hurting people's feelings, but some very educated people that I know posted that, and I knew it was BS when I saw it.
Did they? They posted it as fact?
It was what's not realized is, or what was very first posted was, the Sturgis biker rally was going to cause $12 or $14 billion worth of whatever. Okay, this was going to happen, right? What wasn't said, a couple things, was that number came from 4 economists from San Diego something or other, who were not doctors, who were not actual scientists, who were not anything, and it was if everybody that attended Sturgis got COVID and maxed it all the way out to maximum health care for everybody and or death, up to and including death, I'm assuming. So if, the amount of treatment it would cost times however many people were there, 250,000 people or 500,000 people, whatever it was.
Right.
All of that was going to cost, 12 something billion. And I think there's only been out of the 250,000 people that went, something like 1,600 cases.
I didn't even think it was that many.
Of COVID. Here's the deal. You know what fights COVID? Vitamin D. You know where you get vitamin D?
Sunshine.
The sunshine. You know where bikers are 100% of the time when they're on their motorcycle? In the sunshine. So, yeah.
No, I'd heard there were only a couple of hundred cases, but also that, and again, everybody who hears me probably gets tired of me saying I love facts and research, but non-peer-reviewed paper by economists who were, planning for the worst case, but non-peer-reviewed. That's the key. I can write a paper tomorrow and publish it on Google.
I have 2 friends who posted that I promise you live in a peer-reviewed world.
Yeah, and so to me, that's what we should live and die by. And even then, we should be skeptical, but that is the bare minimum of what you should trust.
I think it was a biker... Okay, so I'll go ahead and just stomp on this particular landmine and say it.
Oh, are you not dancing?
Not on this one. Bikers, by and large, supporting Trump. So we're going to have the biggest biker rally in the world, or country at least, ever come out. And now we're going to wait 2 weeks, the appropriate amount of time, and say that they're going to cost everybody $14 billion in an election year. Totally false.
Yeah.
100% false.
Yeah. I was actually really disappointed in that. And anytime you run with false research or research that is easily debunked,
well,
then
it's projected.
You make the next...
It was a projected thing that everybody took as fact. Like, this could, in theory, which, okay,
it was
I understand.
Projected on assumptions,
if
and they were
you follow
worst
the
case.
math out, that 2,500 people times whatever their health care costs each.
But
right?
also, it was projections based on assumptions. And It was worst case assumptions, not even middle of the road.
And 0 studies have been done about all of the, peaceful demonstrations that have been going on in Portland and, all these other places. How many projections have we seen on the COVID cases that come from those? It starts with a Z and rhymes with hero because it's not politically correct to do so. Those aren't Trump supporters. Trump supporters were in Sturgis, so we're going with...
A lot of them do wear masks.
14.
Some of them are
they're wearing black masks and hoodies. Yeah, when they're trying to burn down federal buildings. So I'll go ahead and stomp on that particular.
Not protesters; those are rioters. There's a difference. Don't make me defend stuff I don't believe, but there's a difference. There's a difference.
I think we went past the rioter protester threshold like some time ago.
I don't know. There was a cute little protest the other day.
A cute little protest.
And
where was this?
It was in Colorado Springs. It was students protesting for the right to have fall sports because they were basically saying that there were like 100 kids.
High school kids?
Yeah.
Okay, that would be cute. I'd like to see that.
And it was peaceful. There was nothing. And they were exercising their right and their opinions. And it was actually, I shouldn't say cute because that denigrates their rights.
Were they burning anything down?
No, they were truly protesting with
breaking
signs.
anything?
No, they were protesters. Hear the
driving
difference?
A vehicle into anything?
No.
Nothing?
Protesters.
Well, hell, you can't go viral if you're trying to...
I know. It didn't go viral.
Right?
It does not make for good
I
news.
understand. These kids, I say let them play sports. Let them do it. This is...
Yeah.
You know my opinions. I have to be careful. I have some people who are immune compromised, so I'm sympathetic towards them. Right, they have pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, well, and
so I'm sympathetic towards them.
We both wear our masks because to me, it's
right.
It doesn't hurt me. It annoys me. It doesn't hurt me. If it protects people I love who are immunocompromised.
And if you have to go in, if you're against masks and you have to go in somewhere where they are wearing masks, don't make an ass of yourself. And we got an example of that. There's an ice cream shop like 2 blocks from where we're sitting right now. And there's these little cute high school kids that work in there. And the little cute people behind the counter, all that stuff, right? And
they get yelled at.
They'll get yelled at for wearing masks because they're supposed to be wearing masks. And that's an asshole move.
Yeah,
if you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Yeah. If you do want to wear a mask, that's fine. Leave those that don't alone. If your mask is doing its job, it's going to protect you. You'll be fine.
But don't complain to the kids making minimum wage. Because
don't do that.
They're just trying to do the best they can. And please, for the love of God, do not corner them with your conspiracy theories that this is Bill Gates trying to depopulate the earth.
But
they are just trying to scoop your ice cream.
Vitamin D.
That's
people. Vitamin D.
I don't think ice cream has vitamin D.
No, but take your vitamin D when you take your ice cream
outside, sit in the sun.
Sit in the sun and get some vitamin D.
Yeah.
Also, most people are vitamin D deficient. I learned that from my doctor, actually, in Texas. And so get some vitamin D. So they tested some people who spent no less than 2 hours a day for long periods of time in the sun, and most of them were still vitamin D deficient. So,
speaking of COVID.
Yes.
I was reading today about the Chinese scientist. I forget her name. Do you know her name?
You want me to pronounce a Chinese name and not butcher it?
I do.
That's
double
not
dog dare you. She is in hiding, and she is saying that she is going to, if I read correctly, she is saying that she is going to, in the near future, release information that will show that COVID was created in a lab in Wuhan, that it was not via bat meat.
I'm not trying to be facetious or funny here. I want to know, I'd like to know where you heard that. And there's a reason I'm asking. Okay, hold on. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm actually going to look it up. You tell me your reason for asking.
Because so those of us who goes in, admittedly,
do not tell me InfoWars.
No. This wasn't Alex Jones. Admittedly, though, from some of my news sources that tend to lean right, the lady that was at the Wuhan thing was talked about. I'm going to go with at least 2 months ago, probably more. And it was seen as kind of a kook conspiracy theory. So I'm wondering why now, because we don't share news information sources, people.
No, we have very different sources.
Right.
Some of them were a little wonky. Like, I usually am not a big Daily Mail or New York Post person, but they actually led to the Scientific American. So, look at you. Oh, no, that's...
No, Johns Hopkins. Okay, stepping back a second. Johns Hopkins researchers are the ones that debunked the Sturgis rally thing. So Johns Hopkins that's the numbers that we've all been getting, the COVID number, worldwide COVID numbers and the death numbers and all that kind of business. So it was Johns Hopkins actual scientists that debunked the COVID thing from before. But this is something else. This is the Wuhan
And to
scientist.
that, Johns Hopkins scientists probably do peer-reviewed journals.
Yes.
Come on, people. But yeah, so it goes back to Scientific American, and I'll be curious to see. She said that and I am not a science person when it comes to the details, but she said there's basically almost like a fingerprint for every germ that's created, every virus.
Sure. I know what you mean, yes.
And she said that this one has basically a fingerprint or a footprint that will show that it was created in a lab. And she said that really has to come out because we're not going to know how to deal with it correctly until we understand its origins.
There was a scientist guest, and I cannot think of his name off the top of my head. Somebody else is welcome to chime in on Rogan about a month or two ago that said basically the same thing. And a fingerprint, I'm obviously using the wrong. My science friends are welcome to flame me, but it has its own DNA, it has its own fingerprint, it has its own personality, it has its own whatever. And for that reason, that's why we can battle most stuff already. We've seen it.
Well, and that's the thing.
Common cold. Yeah. So, but something new that comes out, we haven't seen this, or maybe we've seen maybe half of it, but not where the other half come from, that sort of thing. So that guy talked about it on the Rogan podcast prior to Rogan moving into the whatever the hell kind of studio he's in now.
Oh my God. Don't get me started on that studio. It looks like the bunker from Grease 2.
Yes.
Where he's trying to get into what's her name's pants.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, except it's got some flashing red lights, which make it like a creepy bunker.
Right. We're getting off topic.
Yeah. So back to the virus.
Yes.
To understand if it did come from a lab, then we need to find out. I think it's important to find out, was it set loose intentionally to wreak havoc? Was it an accident? Because accidents happen.
I wish the listening audience could see my face right now.
Oh, I'm sure they can imagine. But if it was set loose, I mean, there is something to be said for, you could argue that China wouldn't do that to their own people. However, they have many, many billions of people.
Oh, yes, they would.
Exactly.
The Chinese could sacrifice, you got to understand, the Chinese could sacrifice 100 million people and not even miss it.
Yeah. And look what they do to the Uyghurs.
Right.
Obviously, they're willing to sacrifice
exactly right. So,
but we need to understand that, because if so, is that an act of war?
I like the fact that you found that independently, that we did not talk about it, that you approached it, because, again, some months ago, folks on the right were, hey, wait a minute, saying this, and where's the scientist that was there, but now she's gone, and this looks like it has its own fingerprint, and this looks like it could not maybe have necessarily been an accident. And you get called a conspiracy theorist and a kook, and now...
If it comes from Alex Jones... It
didn't come from Alex Jones. It came from this... There was a legit science... Again...
When I first started hearing it was from crazy, like, right-wing. I'm sorry if you listen to Alex Jones, but...
Science guy was on, and I wish I could think of his name. I'll look it up and probably enter it in tomorrow, but... The legit scientist was on Rogan and was talking about how it does have its own DNA, its own fingerprint. And again, my science friends are welcome to jump in, but, I think the silent, if we're supposed to listen to science and all things, including global warming and whatever, then you got to have to listen to all of it. So, not just that which is convenient.
I hope she does come out with...
I hope she's still alive.
I read, even this morning, so I think she's in hiding for sure.
I would think so.
And I think the Chinese government would probably like her to come back, but hopefully she's not.
In hiding in... You think she got out?
Well, obviously she's not going to say, but my understanding is she's no longer in China.
It'd be awesome if she were in Taiwan.
They're already fighting with Taiwan. Yeah, China. My God.
They cannot play well with others.
Seriously.
When they're not trying to piss off the Indians, they're pissing off the Taiwanese, they're pissing off the Americans, and, who knows? China. I'm glad you found that independent of me. I'm just going to say it that way, because if I would have said that, if it were me saying that, it'd have been, that's this right-wing conspiracy, blah, 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 blah. No.
When it comes from screaming, yelling right-wing websites, it's hard for me to get
There
past
are also screaming, yelling left-wing websites.
Oh, my God. Don't get me started on them. I know.
There are fewer of them now because most of them are in Portland, but,
I thought you were going to say they went out of business.
Some of them did. Some of them did.
So, do you think there's going to be debates? When would the debates typically be? You're a political... I know. You are a political animal, so when would they...
Usually
they're before the end of September, right?
Getting close. So, conventional wisdom is that they're going to have to find a way for Joe not to have to actually be in a debate.
I think that Trump was actually accusing him of using pharmaceuticals to appear more lively.
Trump is not the first one to say that. If I hadn't heard Trump say that, but if he has said it, he's not the first.
Yeah. It's been said about Trump too.
There
are so many
absolutely
tropes about Trump with Adderall.
I forgot what has been said that Trump may be on by some people.
Adderall.
There's Adderall and there's something else. I forgot what the other one is. It's possible.
Yeah.
But and whatever. But
usually I hear
Adderall is not for Adderall is not going to do anything for somebody with dementia. It has been alleged strongly by more than one person now that there's some serious, Joe can't do this without a teleprompter. He just can't. He's a Manchurian candidate. Sorry.
Yeah. Explain that for people who don't know.
There's a movie called
mansplain that?
Let me mansplain you the Manchurian candidate.
Seriously, some people might.
So I've only seen the most recent movie with Denzel Washington. I hadn't seen the original.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Oh yeah.
Was it good?
Yeah, as I recall, it was. Manchurian Candidate is they take a person who has all the billing and credentials in the movie. The most recent movie, I think, was just post one of the Gulf War with Desert Storm or something. They took a guy who congressional medal recipient, yada yada yada, had great credentials and all of that, and they made all the people around him believe and brainwash them believe a certain thing. And the big they with the all caps set him up to be the next president because it wasn't they had implanted chips in the people supporting him and supporting him or into him as well. He was being controlled by a much larger they. I very much feel that Joe Biden, and I'm being as fair and as even honest as handed here. Joe's not going to be able to get into a debate. He couldn't get into a debate with a serious debate with some of the guys I went to high school with, let alone Donald Trump.
Oh, your high school friends are going to razz you for that.
I
will say, I worry about Joe Biden being in a debate, but also Trump doesn't know how to debate. Trump just is.
He's not going to. Here's the sad part. If Trump had a capable person to go up against in a debate, his debate skills would need to be sharpened, right?
Yeah, because he's not a debater.
If he was going, and I'll throw her out there again. Here it comes again. If he were going up against Tulsi Gabbard, and I'll just say because she's young and smart and educated.
Oh my God, she would run circles around
She would. That's why I was scared of her, right? As an opponent for Trump, he doesn't have to debate Joe. All he's got to do is flustering, and he's going to do that every time he opens his mouth. And Joe is not, without a teleprompter, Joe is not going to be able to handle it.
Well, and I also think, and I'm not sure about the teleprompter thing, I have heard rumors about that, and I've seen some things that worry me, but...
If all you get your news from is certain echo chambers, you probably haven't heard all of this.
No, I've seen some of it. I have.
And I did not mean you, because I do know you look outside. You go outside the box. Some people don't.
Occasionally.
If all you're getting your news from is MSNBC, you probably haven't heard about the Joe, like, real, examples
gaps.
of Joe.
So awkward.
Yeah.
What was I saying? My gosh. It is not dementia, y'all.
It's not dementia.
It's just middle age.
It's not middle age. Stop saying that. I refuse to accept middle age.
What's the median lifespan?
I don't care. It's nothing to do with a lifespan.
I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to make a point about Joe.
About Joe? Debating or not?
Yeah.
Medicated?
Oh, so here's the thing is, even if... And I don't disagree with you. I'm struggling for words because I'm trying to be civil.
Go ahead.
He has been a political animal for so long that he is used to certain decorum. And Donald Trump is having none of that. Like when Donald Trump debates, he is a bulldog and he walks behind his opponents and breathes down their necks. And like he does stuff that has never been done in the political arena.
I think decorum is way too nice a word for what Joe Biden has been used to in D.C. for 47 years.
Well, but you know what I'm saying, though. And maybe you have a better word for it. But
I don't. Swamp. He's used to the system working, and he was used to...
Everything goes a certain way.
He was used to a complicit media for 8 years under Obama that never pushed anybody on anything in that White House. So now he's going to have to go up against a real debate. He does not have the cognitive ability that he had 8 years ago. He's not as sharp as he once was. And this is the guy, and as Tim Kennedy said... This is the guy that there's going to be, sooner or later, there will be a bunch of generals from the Pentagon rushing into the room saying, Mr. President, we've got a situation, and he's going to have to make a decision right then.
And by God, I hope Harris is right there.
She's not the president.
I know.
So what do you do? And I'm not saying Trump has made 100% of the right decisions and everything, but I also happen to remember a lot of rappers in Hollywood saying that we were going to be in a nuclear Armageddon because of the way he was dealing with North Korea. Hadn't happened, and all of that. On foreign policy and dealing with some of these other folks, it's kind of hard to go up against Trump. There have been now 2 countries make peace with Israel in the last 30 days. Trump's nominated for the Peace Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize.
And I think we have to talk about the 2 countries, the United Arab Emirates and
Bahrain
making peace with Israel. That's pretty historic.
Yeah.
Did Trump have, and I am a little limited in that, like I've seen the headlines, but I haven't read into it extensively. Did Trump have a direct hand in that, or did it just happen?
Always a U.S. president, all the way, at least going back to Carter.
Can we just say it was not Jared Kushner? Because, my God,
of course
he
not.
can't tie his shoes.
Jared Kushner gets used a certain bit. I don't know to what extent in dealing with Israel stuff. He may have.
Yeah.
But presidents going all the way back to Jimmy Carter, at least in my lifetime, because that's as far back as I don't know if Ford was in it long enough, and I don't know if Nixon did China. But at least going back to Carter, and credit where credit is due, Carter did work between Egypt and Israel. Won the Nobel Peace Prize in his own right. Then you have, to present day, almost every president since then has dealt with the peace process in the Middle East some kind of way.
Yeah, that's a pretty big one. And this has not gotten a lot of mainstream media attention.
No, it has not.
I know, but it should be historic. I mean, that's if it sticks and if it grows, because typically if one country does it and another country does it, then others will fall in line.
Yeah.
It is historic, and I think that needs to be
it could be about more. It could be that it's business. It could be that, hey, we're catching more flies with honey here.
Yeah.
Well, so whatever it works, as long as, I think as long as we're not having to send troops over to do, BS cleanup work in a BS country for no, a real BS reason, as long as we're avoiding that, because you and I both have sons that are that age.
And honestly, if people are not dying,
right,
no matter what our connection
they
is,
aren't blowing themselves up or shooting each other or whatever.
Yeah, that's a win.
There's more work to be done, and I think the PLO was pissed off about it, and some other folks. But at some point, you gotta, hey, we can work this out. I think Clancy had in one of his books, I forgot which one, he had a great plan on how to run all that. It's way too long and complicated to go into now, but
not a Tom Clancy fan.
I read 2 or 3. Then they all started kind of bleeding together.
Seriously.
Yeah.
They're like Clive Cussler. Like, you've read one, you've read 30.
Right. And then every single person in every Tom Clancy book is the best of the best of the best at everything they do. Like, Jack Ryan's wife was an optometrist in some of the books, and it described her as, and this is massive air quotes, Top Gun on a particular piece of equipment to operate on somebody's eye. I'm like, of course she is.
Did Tom Clancy write all his books, or did he
Those he did. Now, back in the day,
okay,
there is a separate Tom Clancy franchise that he did not write.
Okay.
That is separate. They have license on his name and some of the characters and so forth and so on. That's why there is still Tom Clancy material coming out now. I'm talking about back in the Hunt for Red October days.
Right.
That stuff. Cardinal of the Kremlin and Clear and Present Danger and all that kind of business.
Oh, my God, you put me to sleep.
I know, right? Every single guy or woman and every single one of every character was
so
always...
many submarines.
Yes,
Why so many submarines?
Well, he's from Maryland, and that's a nautical state.
Okay, I am sorry, Maryland, but if you give me a movie with a submarine, I am taking a nap.
No.
Oh. Submarines?
Are you serious? You didn't see all of Hunt for Red October with Sean Connery?
I'm pretty sure I slept through most of it.
Some things in here don't react well to bullets.
No?
Not so much?
No.
That was
I don't care how much.
That was an unrehearsed Sean Connery impersonation.
That's actually pretty good.
You had to give me a few minutes. I could probably nail a better one. I can do Clinton and Sean Connery.
So,
no.
I'm going to get hate for that. Probably more hate than admitting all the other things I don't like. Tarantino, stand by it. Yeah.
It's okay.
Submarines. Oh my God.
Submarines or submarine movies?
Submarine movies. If Quentin Tarantino ever makes a submarine movie, I will protest that.
Did you?
I will be outside the movie theater. Did he make one?
No, there was one. There was one that Matthew McConaughey was in a few years back.
Not even Matthew McConaughey could get me to watch a submarine movie.
He didn't take his shirt off the entire movie.
Definitely not watching a
So
submarine
he didn't say, all right.
He
didn't do any, all right. He didn't do any of that. But it was a World War II submarine movie, so they can only go to like 200 feet. Those are...
Nope.
No?
No. Don't ever take me to a submarine movie.
Duly noted, no. I guess.
We can watch Cobra Kai all day, but do not take me to a submarine movie.
So you said we had to circle back to Cobra Kai for a reason. What was it? Do you remember? Because we are trying not to binge watch too hardcore, but we've been going at a pretty good clip too.
We've been like little kids. We're like, okay, let's do this, and then we'll watch a couple.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
we're gonna eat, and while we're eating, let's watch an episode.
It is so cheesy.
But you posed a good question. It's like, what are we gonna do when we're out of Cobra Kai? And it's like, I guess we'll go back to watching Narcos because we ain't got caught up on that. I don't. So
I'm not a big binge watcher. I mean, apparently I am because we're binge watching Cobra Kai.
Right.
But...
okay. I've been a member of 3 gyms now for martial arts.
Right.
Because of where I lived. To a man, I've never seen an exception to this. So Cobra Kai is full of jerks and a-holes.
Right.
In a real fighting gym where there's guys in there that are really, really animals, including the instructors. I've never seen that. If that's not in anything that, now I don't know what it's like in California with karate dojos or whatever, but I've never, the biggest, baddest animal, savage gorilla in the cage is also the most polite one.
I will say when my kids did mixed martial arts, they, respect was required. And actually if their teacher, sensei is listening,
right,
he would probably agree. Respect was the most important thing. Yeah. It was more important than your ability. It was more important than anything.
Well, typically the guys that were that caliber were 20-something years younger than I was, absolutely zero body fat. And even when I had to practice against them sometimes, they were super respectful. They called me sir.
Even as they killed you.
Even as they would knock the piss out of me. No, but it would be like, throw your punch this way, not that way, or go over this way, or, whatever it was. And it was always yes or no, sir.
This is Cobra Kai, though, and they are the
And I know, I just don't want parents or kids somewhere to see Cobra Kai and go, oh, that's what they all must be like. Because that's not at all what it's like. No. It's not.
I also don't think they're like what's his name? They're not like Daniel's. No, they're not like Daniel's dojo where it's going to be bonsai trees and.
No, I've never seen a bonsai tree. I've seen some warehouses that didn't have air conditioning on purpose, so that it would be 110 degrees in there on purpose.
I was about to give a spoiler. I don't want to give a spoiler, but yeah, there's a lot of that I'm like, oh god.
Right? No. There were no bonsai trees, and you don't fight in a circle in the mall food court. Or whatever.
And who goes to the mall?
That was the other thing. There's some serious mall scenes in this.
And I'm like, seriously?
Which makes sense in Stranger Things, because Stranger Things is set in the 80s.
Right. And
so that's when the mall was the thing to do. Yeah. Speaking of which, that was Stranger Things is Indiana. There was a shooting in an Indiana mall that I have been in multiple times.
I was wearing a clown mask.
Really?
Seriously,
I didn't read that part.
I read he was wearing a clown mask, and at that point, I was like, "Why didn't someone shoot him first?"
Sorry, don't know. There's a really good gun store not all that far from that.
Did they catch him? Or?
I don't know. Yeah. Not all that far from that mall. Down, I forgot, the Grape Street or Grape Avenue or Grape something. My Indiana friends will know what I'm talking about. And carry for the guy in the mall, because here's the deal. In that part of the world, it's in the winter. It gets so cold for so long that their mall is actually pretty, pretty
That's
busy.
Pretty important because if it's like negative 10 degrees,
because you can go somewhere and there's a Starbucks and there's other coffee shops and they have these little indoor-outdoor bistros where you're sitting basically in the mall thing with skylight and you're still indoors, but you're at least not feeling like you're in a restaurant kind of thing. So the mall is kind of a big deal there, especially in the winter months. So. That's
it's pretty limited.
Dude in a clown suit, I feel like is asking for it anyway.
I have not confirmed that. I read that this morning, but now they're pretty tight-lipped on what was going on. Yeah. But when I read it this morning, it was a clown mask.
So for those that don't know that so that was in Mishawaka, Indiana. Mishawaka and South Bend are basically, it's like, I'm trying to think of Bryan College Station, Brownwood Early, where we're from. You don't know where one starts and the other one stops.
Right.
I'm trying to think of a bigger example of that in but
Arlington, Mansfield.
Maybe you really have to be from there to know where when you're in one and not in South Bend where Mayor Pete was mayor. But you were joking about Mayor Pete earlier, and seriously, if you can stand in one and drive a golf ball to the other, I'm not exaggerating.
I was also joking about, and you lived in Indiana for a while.
10 months.
But who's counting? So I may have a little bit of an addiction to true crime podcasts. I won't lie. I turn them off when you're around because I know you get tired of them. But they sustain me during my long commute. I bet fully half of the stories, and they go back to sometimes the 50s.
All right.
I bet half of them take place in Indiana. And I know you've said it's a crossroads for America, but
it is.
My God, if you want to be a serial killer, go to Indiana, because apparently that's where they all are.
It's very rural. Now, lots and lots and lots of cornfields.
Apparently with a lot of hitchhikers.
Lots of I didn't see any hitchhikers.
I'm kidding, because some of these go back a few years.
Apparently this goes back to when...
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Indiana is... where serial killers go to learn their craft?
Serial Killers Central? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to say that's downstate from where I was, because we were fairly,
I hope so.
Civilized.
Yeah. Every time I listen, because a lot of them come out on Mondays and Tuesdays, and so I'm like, oh, new one. Indiana, seriously? Again? Yeah.
Indiana with a thing. They got it going on. So
and if anybody wants good crime podcasts, I know a few.
Yeah, hit us up.
There's some bad ones too.
Hit us up. But no, South Bend has some. And I've got friends there, and I would drop in a heartbeat go help any one of them. But there are some crime issues in the greater South Bend area. So that's all I'm gonna say on that one.
Are you talking smack on Mayor Pete?
No.
He's no longer mayor, so.
I will say Mayor Pete didn't get his own backyard tidied up before he ran for president. Let me say it that way. So now he can write books and sell them and do a great job and whatever.
So it's 2024.
Run for a different office, but South Bend needed help.
Maybe start.
And I'm saying that from where we're from. Where we're from needs help too. I'm not.
No, it doesn't.
Brownwood needs a little help.
No.
Needs some economic help. Yeah, it does.
Oh yeah, it does. It does. But we should check on that because I think they're on an upswing.
Well, that's because if we move back to Texas, let's just move back to Brownwood and take it completely over, and start our cupcake factory there. And
people are like, "What in the hell?"
They don't know what we're talking about at all.
That is for another.
That's a whole
day,
different
my friends.
thing. But I'm telling you, if I have to move back to Brownwood, I'm telling you, I'm just letting you know, fair warning, I'm taking over. It's going to be mine, all of it.
All I care
the
about
Dr.
is
Pepper
goats.
Bottling Company,
goats and chickens,
and we're gonna have goats
and chickens.
So
and a horse.
No damn horses.
A donkey.
No.
A donkey.
No donkeys.
You can run with it.
What?
Nothing. All right. So that's all we got. Donkeys, chickens, horses.
We're not giving relationship advice this time.
Follow us for more relationship advice because apparently we have it all figured out.
I don't mean to brag.
We finally got it right.
I have not one but 2 divorces under my belt. And I totes have authority to be giving relationship advice when asked.
Yes, dear.
Absolutely, yes, dear.
And as always,
Robyn is correct.
And Ryan is right.
Night, y'all.
Bye, y'all.